This is another video I want to make. This one doesn't have any general direction besides just a few things that happened online that I would rather make one video about all of them rather than give you like 9 kind of small crappy videos on. Basically, the first one is the Twitter 100 men versus 1 gorilla. And this heavily depends on both the gorilla and men. Let's say it's just a tough gorilla who's angry and wants to kill everyone just for the sake of simplicity. Let's say it's 100 men, like normal people who've never been in a fight. Those people are losing, like without question, mostly because they'd all be too pussy to continue fighting it. But now let's say it's 100 people who've been to war or who do any type of fighting training and seen people die. Like, that gorilla fucking horribly dying. Like, horribly, because then let's say it's a bunch of regular guys who do boxing or something. They would win pretty easily. Even though a few of them are gonna get murked, like, very hard. The fact that you have people with fighting training, like, they know about fighting, they know about discipline, so they definitely beating the shit out of that gorilla and killing it. But now let's go to things that the gorilla basically has zero chance of winning. 100 men who've either been to war or have hunted animals without weapons. Like, these guys are murking that gorilla. If you have even one person who knows how to handle a gorilla in that group, that gorilla is fucked. Because now it's not just about brute strength and rushing into it. It's a battle of attrition, smarts, and knowing what to do. So there's even a tactic where they don't even have to fight the gorilla. They just surround it with, let's say there's a group of 30 men roughly just surrounding the gorilla. That gorilla gonna be scared. Let's say all they do is just switch positions for a few days. So all those men sleep while the gorilla's forced to stay awake for a while. Eventually, that gorilla's gonna have to go to sleep and get tired because gorillas eat for 12 hours a day. If you just have him in a position where he can't safely eat because he's too worried about you, he's eventually gonna run out of energy and you could win through battle of attrition. Or these guys could just go in and they're gonna murk that gorilla. Especially if they use tactics like, punching in the balls, poking in the eye, if they grab a stick from the floor, if they throw rocks at him, or even if they all just go in swinging. Like, that gorilla getting murked. He getting murked and he dying. So the problem is specification on the question, but most of the time 100 humans will win pretty easily. So yeah, that's literally my opinion on it. This is Ricky in a wrestling match, and dude, that's actually a pretty cool cameo in a wrestling. Plus his Autism 316 shirt, oh my god, I fucking love it. Ricky's cool. My favorite thing about Ricky has always been, there's a lot of people who make things they're born with like a major factor of their personality because they don't have anything interesting or worthwhile to offer. Someone could literally make their entire personality on being a woman. And that's it. I'm a woman. That's my personality. You have nothing interesting to offer. You're just a woman. Or a guy. A guy could make his entire personality, I'm black. That's my personality. I'm black. You have no interesting traits. You have nothing that really differentiates you from the crowd. You're just another person in the crowd. And that's really all you are. Like, this happens with a lot of things, but mainly with identity politics, where that specific characteristic trait that you were born with that you never had a decision in basically is your entire personality. And what I hate is a lot of people use that in order to really tell you that that's all they are, that's all they ever will be. They don't have any faith in themselves to do anything important. So instead of putting the hard work to be interesting or to have a hobby that's actually worth bragging about, they just make this everything they can because it's an easy way out. Like Ricky, what I love about Ricky is his disability is not his major character trait. His major character trait is his personality. And him being disabled, that's something he was born with, but that does not define the person who he is. And that's what I love about Ricky. Great YouTuber, great channel. I occasionally watch this man a lot. Look at this. Showed up to wrestling with a Autism 316 shirt. Like the baddest man on the planet. Pretty cool as hell. Yeah. Plus, look at that song.
A lot of beats online. I have no idea
Yeah.
Does this shirt say autism?
I fucking love this shit. So this is one of the other cool things I find, which is that I love creators like him, because like he isn't the only example of it. There's a lot of people that do that, where their personality is the main draw, or their editing is the main draw. It depends, but like, if you're boring, but are informative, you can make videos and be successful on YouTube. If you're extremely funny, you can make videos and be successful on YouTube. If you know a lot about history, you can make videos and be successful on YouTube. If you know a lot about fixing things, you can make videos and be successful on YouTube. Like, there's a lot of people who have many different talents, many different things that make them popular here. That's the thing I love about YouTube. YouTube isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It's, here's a bunch of random stuff and you choose what you're interested in. If you want to find out from some random Indian 5-year-old how to fix a problem on your phone that you don't know how to fix, you can find him. If you want to look at a shitty Dragon Ball AMV from 17 years ago that's at 144p, you can find it. If you want to look at some random embarrassing moment from people 35 years ago that was posted on YouTube, you can find it. But yeah, Ricky is a big example of what you're born as does not define your entire characteristic trait. You can be an interesting and fun person even if you have disadvantages that other people don't normally have. And the last thing I want to talk about is Trump and Saudi Arabia. And I think this is actually pretty cool. Like, look at this. He's straddling around like he goddamn owns the place. Look at that. The sad part about this is, you want to know what this whole thing has that you won't see in American protest? American flags. Like, every time you go to specifically leftist protests, there is not one American flag. This isn't even his country. This is not even his country. And guess what flag he holding up? Happily. This is the American flag. This is how things should be. We're doing this to increase relations, have better relationship with them, and I think this is a good choice. Like, look at that. It's good that they brought the regular car that the president's in, because Trump definitely needs that super overly secure car. Even in other countries, especially. And look at that. That guy awkwardly holding the door. Ooh, I fucking love that. But yeah, I think overall his trip to Saudi Arabia and all the stuff he's been doing definitely is beneficial for the country. Imagine if we trade with these people and become like bigger partners. Like, that's always a bonus. So yeah, this is very good for world leaders. Not many of them are willing to go to countries like that and do this, like Trump. I think the saddest part about this is there's a big chance Trump feels safer here than outside in an American city like New York. Just because look how many assassination attempts he's had here. Like, there's a very big chance he feels safer there because a lot of people are like literally defending him the best they can, possibly there. And then there was this too. This was the motorcade, and dude, this was awesome. So bro had Teslas, motorcycles, and I think it was called the Beast. I believe so. I don't remember the actual name. But it's the car of the White House. They have a specific name for it. Let me quickly see. But I believe it was called the Beast. It's commonly known as the Beast, also referred to as Cadillac One. Yeah. This car is $1.5 million right here, with many security features. I think the windows were like 10 inches thick too and everything. And this shit could survive a bomb and all that. And I know some of them have guns inside of them. It's pretty cool. And the best part is you don't know which one the president is in, so it makes it even riskier to try and shoot one. Well, look at this place. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, I've got them camels and horses and all that. They're even playing music for him and everything. But yeah, I find something like that really cool. Yeah, and I hope to increase relations with the Middle East and all that, because we've been fighting for way too long, man. I'm tired of all these endless wars that, in the end, lose us a bunch of money and get nowhere. But yeah, this is how you make peace with another country. Yeah,
President Trump is in the nation of Qatar today, and boy was he dazzled. Look at the white marble covering every inch of the palace.
Look at this, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, definitely beautiful.
Construction person, I'm seeing perfect marble. This is what they call perfecto.
They're really pulling out all the stops for Trump. He was escorted from the airport by a mile-long motorcade led by 2 Tesla Cybertrucks painted fire engine red. And as he approached the palace, there was a squad of soldiers on camels to greet him.
We appreciate those camels. I haven't seen camels like that in a long time.
Right, I've never seen a camel in my entire life.
But is the jet lag getting to him? He seemed to be almost nodding off, his eyelids drooping as he waited for a press conference to begin. There was no mention of the ongoing uproar over the $400 million jumbo jet gift from the Emir of Qatar. Trump told...
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. A lot of people shit on this, but let's be honest. If Obama got that jet, like, people would be happy. If Joe Biden got that jet, well, he would probably be criticized by Republicans, but most people would be happy. This is one of those things that I believe it's good, because they're definitely going to inspect every inch of that plane. They're not just going to pretend like it's perfect. If they inspect everything to see it's not rigged or anything, then it's perfect for us, and it's perfect for relations with Qatar and all that. He said our plane was 40 years old and all that for the president, and the president really needs a tip-top plane, to be honest. Because this is like the guy who represents our country, and dude's had like, what, 3 or 4 assassination attempts on him already? Like, even if you don't like him, something like that plane will be useful for a lot of things, even the next president if we need it.
Fox's Sean Hannity the reason he wants the fancy luxury jet.
Like, look at that shit. That shit beautiful. That shit probably overly expensive, overly safe. Like, probably has some amazing parts in it. Like, that thing looks like it can survive a shit ton of different situations. It even looks like a giant ass boat, to be honest, rather than a plane. Because look at that. Most planes I've seen have like 3 little legs here. This thing has like an extra 2 in the back. And look at those rudders. I think that's what they're called, rudders. Oh yeah, those things are huge as fuck. Imagine just being right here. You would just... like that one scene in GTA 5 where that lady got killed.
The current Air Force One is just not impressive enough.
To be honest, it even looks not impressive. it even looks not impressive compared to the other one, to be honest. Look at all those military jets with him. That's pretty cool.
When you land and you see Saudi Arabia and you see UAE and you see Qatar and you see all this, and they have these brand new Boeing 7... S-tier fruit. Not the best ones, but they're okay. I don't know what that is. 747s mostly, and you see ours next to it. This is like a totally different plane. It's much smaller, it's much less impressive as it is. And you know, we're the United States of America. I believe that we should have the most impressive plane.
Exactly. Actually, we have the largest economy in the entire world. the biggest military in the entire world, we might as well have the biggest, most impressive plane in the entire world as well. Like, that's exactly what we need. Like, it may seem stupid because it may seem like a waste of money, but the reality is, like, this is the fucking president. This is not some random ass Joe Smo going to the grocery store. This is a guy who represents America. If he wants a big fucking plane, he gets a big fucking plane. With reason, of course, but yeah. Overall, I think this is pretty good, and I like that he's increasing whatchamacallit, cooperation between the two nations. I think this is really good overall for pretty much everyone involved, and we'll see how it goes through here. It's one of those things where I personally don't have a super strong opinion on any side, but I'm willing to let him go on and see what I think of it. Like, there are things that it's better to be a fence sitter about than immediately jump the gun and decide your side, and this is one of those things where I'm gonna fence sit and see what happens, and then over time make up my opinion on. But so far, I think it's more positive than negative. Oh, and there's also this. Like, I'll get a little bit into the backstory of Africa, but this guy's opinion is actually completely justified if hers is correct. It's one of these things where if you believe this is fine, you have to believe the other thing is fine. If not, you're a hypocrite and your opinion doesn't matter. For me personally, both are obviously bad, but let me tell you a little bit about Africa. This is the sad truth that a lot of people don't know, which is that Africa, there's a few nations that wanted to fight to keep slavery. Like, no joke. There were a few nations that literally fought to the fucking end to keep slavery. The places that really helped end slavery the most was actually Britain. Like, Britain literally had a thing where they paid slave owners basically they paid them to free their slaves, and they gave them money in exchange for that, because slaves were technically property. So what happened is, over time, Britain basically kept paying slave owners money on letting their slaves be free because they were technically property at the time, in order to incentivize them to let their slaves be free. Plus, Britain also fought Muslims in order to free those slaves. There were a lot of cases where they failed miserably. I don't remember the exact name of it, but there was one time where there was a ship carrying about 200 to 300 slaves. Britain fought with the Muslims, then the ship sank, and a few people were able to save, I think it was about 20 or 30 slaves, roughly. The other ones, sadly, all of them drowned, but they did manage to save 20, so it wasn't like a completely perfect thing. There were obviously things that were considered failures within it, but yeah, this is what I consider one of the best things the British Empire has really ever done in terms of its entire history. It's because people thought slavery was terrible and they wanted to get rid of it, so they basically did. There's also France. They got rid of slavery later on. That was pretty good too. Although, to be honest, theirs is a little weird because Napoleon also, let me think. I think Napoleon also had Cuba and brought slavery there, so he was, I mean, they like almost got it right. They just fucked up in Cuba. Then America, to get rid of slavery, we literally fought, died, and killed each other to get rid of slavery because the issue was too big for us to really ignore. Like, for example, George Washington, when he became president, he stopped us from buying slaves in the Atlantic slave trade in order to lower the amount of slaves coming to America, which it doesn't end slavery, but it's one of those steps where it slowly ends it. And all the slaves that are currently in America are still slaves, and over time, tensions get big enough that Abraham Lincoln eventually has to deal with the fallout. He deals with it, he gets shot, and then the few other presidents later is when slavery officially ends, right after Lincoln. But Lincoln got rid of it for most states, except I think it was 3 or 4 states that were allowed to keep slavery. But yeah, the reality is every single nation imaginable had slavery at some point. People in Africa enslaved other Africans. This isn't a white man created slavery thing. This is every race had slavery. The Muslims had slavery, white people had slavery, the Egyptians had slavery. The farther back we go, the more we realize that it was a basic part of human history that can't really be only blamed on America, because every other nation had it at some point. America did have it a little late to the party, I'll say that, at least in terms of European countries, but yeah, the sad reality is humanity has had slavery for years. like many years. There's been different types, but as long as one man thought of taking advantage of another man for his labor and basically doing it for practically free, slavery has existed. The farther back we go in human history, the more we realize that our ancestors weren't perfect. It was more like, over time, they slightly got better, and to the point where we are now. Where 100 years later, people are going to look at us like we were animals or nasty people or like completely backwards, and that's completely fine. Because remember, in the medieval era, we built a lot of contraptions to horribly torture people just because we wanted to. Nowadays, we find lynching and even the death penalty a little too far, even though back then in the medieval era, things like pulling people apart or giving them the most painful, horrible punishments ever created by the human mind was perfectly acceptable. I definitely know this one's a reply to that one. Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I don't think I should go any farther in this. Oh god. Oh yeah, I know that. I think Germans were around for 2,000 years in general. It's very unfair to base them off of only, I think, 14 years of Nazi Germany in general. Like, it is a bad part of their history, but to be honest, their entire culture should not be hated just because of the actions of, like, less than 1% of their entire history. But their entire culture should not be based off of something that happened that was basically less than 1% of the entire German history. Like, there's a lot of German people that make the world a better place over time. Every race has benefited the world. Yeah. My thing is, history should not be forgotten, but this era shouldn't completely define them. Because there were things that like every country did that was morally unjustified before, that even to this day they shouldn't be hated for anymore because all those people who did those things are practically dead. Like, the reality is, everyone who took part in World War I in a significant way is either dead or about to die. And most people just have to realize that you can't forget human history, but all the people who did those actions are now fucking dead. They all fucking died. Every single one of them. And the last few that are still there are about to die. The only people really left from that era are maybe children that were born a little bit after World War II that heard a lot about it. It's one of those things where you don't want to forget history, but you can't judge an entire culture's history based off of one thing. Now let's talk about a really big one, which is this entire situation. Now I'm going to give a very general, basic background of it. I'm not going to go too far into it, but basically, Karmelo stabbed another kid, and I believe it was unjustified completely. And he was rewarded by it by giving a GoFundMe and that much money raised for it. And a lot of people are happy to excuse his actions when, in reality, he was the perpetrator. He was the bad guy. And this lady flipped off a 5-year-old child, said the N-word a few times. He basically tried to steal something from her baby's rack or something. Yeah, this is before. I know that this one already beat this one by a long shot. But this is one of these things where both cases can be bad. But the problem that I have is that you can't compare what she did to what he did. He killed another kid and was rewarded for it, while she just flipped someone off and was an asshole. Like, you can agree both of these things are bad, but at the same time, you can't believe that what she did is equal to what he did. What he did is the equivalent of ruining not only his childhood by him becoming a murderer. He made an adult decision, and he killed the rest of his childhood and innocence over it. He doesn't deserve to be rewarded for it. And then he killed the potential of the other guy having a great life because he was stabbed to death. Well, she flipped off a child, and that is also bad, but it's nowhere near as bad as this. It's one of these things where a literal race war was started. And I'm just gonna say this. If you side with him, like, you're morally wrong in every way. Like her, she's bad, she's unjustified. She should not be rewarded for it. But the whole reason she happened was because he was rewarded for killing someone else. It's like one of those things where this is the cause, this is the effect. This would never have been accepted if it wasn't because of this. So it's like one of these things where I don't want to be on either side, but at the same time, I have to acknowledge that this is far worse than anything she has done, like anything at all. This would only be equal if she killed someone black and was rewarded for it by being freed out of jail. That's the only equivalent then these things would be equal. But they're not equal. What he did is morally irreprehensible and should never be forgiven, especially how unjustified it was. What she did is unjustified and it is bad. You can think two sides are bad without picking a side. This is one of those things where I personally have to acknowledge it. What he did is far worse than anything she could have done at all. And treating it like what she did is worse, like it shows your true cards. You only care about race, or you only care about what helps your political agenda without really applying consequences equally. So yeah, this whole situation is fucked, and a literal race war was started because of this, and it's still going on.